Action.
Yeah.
Got it working, man.
We did it. We did it.
What's going on, brother?
Oh, chilling, man. Chilling. I am so impressed by the club right now.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to tell you, I knew this guy when he first started. He was producing shows in a restaurant. He's like, hey, I really like comedy. I want to have this show in a restaurant. I forget the name of it.
It was called Off the Hook.
Off the Hook. That's right.
Yeah, Off the Hook in Naples right there. Or not Naples, in right here in New Smyrna.
Yeah. New Smyrna.
Not the Off the Hook in Naples.
Right. Different. Had a show going on in a restaurant. We're standing there in the corner. I was like, dude, this dude's, he paid. He did everything right. He did everything right. And then you had a show at the hotel, which was a great show. Like he moved up.
Yeah, well, that came after Mellow Monkey.
La Monkey?
Yeah, Mellow Monkey in Sanford.
Was I there?
Yeah, I think you were there at least once or twice.
Was I?
Yeah, it was the historic district downtown Sanford.
I can't picture that one right now.
Yeah, it was similar, red, black, like this. You never did Mellow?
I'd have to see a picture of it.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look. Yeah, because I went from doing shows there.
Yeah.
And then I opened up Mellow Monkey. Well, there were two guys running a place that were doing it terribly. Yeah, and I offered them a marketing campaign. It was like 10, 15 grand. Yeah. They're like, yeah, let's do it. And I said, you know what? I'll tell you what. I moved it off the table. I said, make me one third partner. And they were like, all right. I knew they were dying already. I've been watching them for a couple months, and I knew that they were dying.
Yeah.
And then I found the landlord they were dealing with who hated them, right? So I came in with an idea like, all right, cool, let's do it. They kept it. It was called Area 51. What long before they were like, dude, this isn't working. And I said, you know what? Let's do a comedy club. That was the setup from day one.
Yeah.
I set it up from day one that way. And then we turned it to Mellow Monkey. Then we had a falling out. I got them dudes basically. They ran out on the lease, which is kind of what I wanted them to do. Right. And I was supposed to re-sign the lease March 26th of COVID year.
Oh, no.
And I held off. And I was like, nah, I'm not going to do it right now.
My point is,
that was long-winded.
He started at the bottom. Now he's here.
Yeah.
Look at this. You got your own comedy club, and it's beautiful, and it's impressive. And right before we turned on the cameras, he was telling me about everything he had to do with the building, and just like, dude, this man literally grunted it out with his own hands, built it from the ground up, and I am so proud of you, man.
Thanks, man. Shout out to
really
Artesian
cool.
Design, too, that helped us do it. My dude, those guys, he pulled all the guys off the job. We were hanging out in here, standing next to that safe I was telling you about.
Yeah.
And the mayor stopped by. Mayor Russ stops by, and he's walking through, and he's a comedy fan. And he's like, how many days till you open? I was like, 12 or something. He's like, yeah, you're not going to make it. And he said that my GC, Aaron, man, he looked at me. He's like, what? Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. I was lighting the fire for everybody else. We can do it. We can make it. Aaron's like, I don't know. Once the mayor said that to him and left, Aaron's like, oh, we're going to make this. He pulled people off of other jobs and loaded everybody up. And he helped us get it done, man.
He showed up. The mayor showed up just to say that.
I think so.
Hey, you guys are going to be open in time. All right, got to go. Bye.
Yeah, but he was kind, man, and a little helpful, man. I tell you what really helped us get it open, other than Artesian Design, is a great attorney.
Oh, yeah.
Get one of those on your side. I'm telling you. When you don't have one on your side, it's terrible, and they're terrible people. But when you get one on your side, you're like, I love them. I love good attorneys.
Yeah.
But this is about you, man. It's about you.
Yeah.
No more deflecting.
Me. All right, sorry. This is my interview.
It's about him.
My interview.
Headline and like, man, take me, like, what got you into comedy, man? What walked you into it?
Yeah, so what walked me? I mean, man, I've been a comedy fan since I was a little kid, right? I would watch it on TV. I laughed all the time. I was actually just telling some people too, like my dad was really funny, and like my dad would I remember he would like be reading like the Far Side cartoons in the newspaper. Remember the Far Side? And he'd be laughing. I'm like, I don't get it. Explain it to me. And so my dad would explain jokes to me. And once he started to explain jokes, and I started to understand other jokes, and I'm like, I see what's going on here. It was cool, right? And fast forward, I worked as a server at a comedy club up in New York.
Which one?
At the Comics Cafe.
Okay, don't know.
But yeah, it was upstate New York.
Yeah.
And I'd be serving. I was like 19. I'm like watching the show as I'm cutting through. I'm like, man, how do they do that? Right? Like I'm just looking like, that's scary. How do they do that?
Yeah.
But I noticed that like I was busting my ass as a server, and everybody that worked in the box office, they got to watch the show. Because by the time the show started, the box office was done.
Yeah.
So they're hanging out, and they were like smooth sailing. And they always had like tickets to give away or promotions. So everybody in like the city would be like, oh, that's the guy that can get you into the comedy club. So it was like cool to be in the
status change,
right?
Yeah.
So fast forward. So I moved to Orlando from Rochester. and I didn't have any friends. I didn't grow up in Florida, so I got a part-time job at the Orlando Improv.
Oh, okay.
Right.
How long ago was that?
That was in 2003.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I got a part-time job at the Improv, and it was the box office. And I was so excited to just be around comedy in the box office. I showed up like a day early for work. They're like, okay, you could.
You're an overachiever.
Yeah. I was like, I just want to be here. I got to learn everything, learn the system. They had a comedy class, so I took a comedy class.
Who taught? Who taught it?
Gary Minke.
Okay.
I don't know if you know that name.
I
No,
don't.
that's a podcast for another time. But he was teaching the comedy class, and so I did that. I did the graduation show.
That's right.
Right. So my very first time like being on stage in front of a real audience was like 220 people.
Yeah.
And I crushed. Like I did great.
Okay.
Right? And I was
Do you remember some of that 5 minutes?
One thing I remember, and it was something along the lines of like even the janitor at NASA can brag that he works at NASA.
Okay, yeah.
NASA, you know. So, I don't remember exactly. That was the gist of it. But so like after I did that, I did like a show in front of like 220 people. I remember I went up to the manager's office. I'm like, now what? Like I thought I was gonna get like
Give me a theater.
yeah.
I crushed for 5. I'm ready for Madison Square.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, I could do this. And then I went to like the local open mics in town because I started hanging out at the open mics and I'd become friends with the other comedians and stuff. And then I learned real quickly that I was not ready for Comedy Central after one performance. and then that was the start of it. I just kind of started. I worked for all the local clubs in Florida and kept growing and growing. And
This is almost 20 years close.
17 years.
17, yeah. 17 years in comedy. Now you teach that class now.
I teach that class now.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long you been teaching that class? What made you want to teach?
So well, I was working at the Improv, and the guy that was teaching it got fired. But because Minke got fired. But because I was there, I was already at the club. I like worked in the box office. I started the class. I always had a good relationship with the club. I would always go to the comedy class, even all these years later, as a working comic.
Okay, yeah.
Like I would sit in, I'd write and hang out, and I'd meet the new guys and blah blah blah, and so Gary would say, hey, the new guys go with Carmen. The people that have been in class for a while come here.
You became the assistant.
So I became the assistant.
Yeah.
And I was like teaching them actual joke structure. Like, if you want to write a one-liner, you do this. Here's how you do some act outs, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And they're like, we all want to go to Carmen's side, right? So I kind of started to like.
You started stealing them all.
Right. I started stealing, but I didn't mean to. Like, I was just, and then Gary got fired. He had to, they let him go.
They let him go.
So like, Carmen, you take it over. So I was like, okay. So I was like, it literally fell into my lap that I started teaching this comedy class.
And I don't know, fell in your lap, man. That's right place, right time. But you kept going to the class. You kept working on your own stuff the whole time.
Yep.
So I mean, you put yourself in that place, man.
I did, and I didn't realize that I did.
Yeah.
I put myself in the place, but I didn't realize it at the time.
What's your writing process? What's your process from like idea to joke to workout? What's that process like for you?
Yeah, so there's a few different ones.
Yeah.
So this is what we do in the class. So one of the things we do is we play this game called Rant Round.
Okay.
And we put somebody on stage for a minute. I love doing this. Put on stage for a minute, and the other students or the people in the crowd will give you a topic, right? And might be like, okay, the topic is traffic. Okay, you got 1 minute. Just go. And you just got to come up with whatever you can on traffic.
Just freestyle.
Just freestyle on traffic.
Yeah.
And something funny will come out. So that's a fun way to write.
Yeah.
Or I'll sit and do that same kind of exercise, but with a pen and paper.
Yeah.
So
you're a pen and paper guy, not a thumbs guy.
I'm not a thumbs guy.
Yeah.
I'm not. If something hits me and I have to put it in there, I'll thumbs it. But if I'm doing it, I got my I got my book bag over here. Look at this. Look. I still travel around with my book bag filled with notebooks and books and
drugs
and a cigar. So I still have to have like my my paper and pen. I think there's something special about paper to pen.
Yeah, I hear that from a lot of comics, right? They're like, there's we write it. We're traditional. We write it. I think it's a form of bragging, to be honest. It's a form of like, no, we don't thumb things. We write these things down.
Yeah. I also thumb things. The last thing I thumbed, it's so stupid. I said, eating a piece of cake is a piece of cake.
Yeah, man, gonna work on that one.
Have to work on that one.
Actually, DJ Santana did a joke like that last night.
Did he?
Yeah, he said he stole a piece of cake from his baby, and he had to admit it was a piece of cake. It was like stealing candy from a baby.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But you know DJ's delivery, right? It makes it weird as shit.
Yeah.
He does it.
That's great. I guess I'm deleting that one.
Oh, yeah. Oops. Yeah. Well, no, you can argue who did it first, right?
Yeah.
What about that though, right? Is you hear a lot in this industry, right, about joke stealing, right?
Yeah.
It's a major thing, right? But I've often wondered, like, how many premises are there? You know what I mean? And you hear guys that, like, may say people steal jokes, right? But they'll get on stage and they'll do a joke about, I don't like my wife, right? And they'll do, like, that's never been done before. Or I hate being married, or I hate my kids, right? You hear these premises that I've listened to 100 comics do.
Yeah.
Where's that line between you stole a joke or you're using a pretty general premise?
Yeah, so that's a real thing. I think so. You've got the parts of a joke. You got the topic, and then you got the premise.
Mm-hmm.
The topic could be the same.
Mm-hmm.
There's a million comedians that talk about weed.
Right.
Weed is the topic.
Right.
But the idea, the premise is its own. That should be where the comedian really makes something special. But again, that could be done too. Like, how many? Okay, so let's say the topic is pot or weed. How many comics say that weed, it makes you hungry, you end up eating everything in the fridge? I'm sure that's probably been done a million times.
Yeah.
But then
Cat Williams did that premise and killed it. Remember, he was
Killed it,
just sitting on the counter, staring at the fridge.
yeah. But then if the topic is weed and you have a different angle, like another idea that I've thumbed, I haven't even brought it to the stage yet, but is like medical marijuana, like that's the only medicine that comes in candy form.
Yeah.
You're gonna get like Benadryl Skittles.
You just branch out from there.
Branch out, yeah. So the topic could be the same, but you definitely want to have like your own unique premise and ideas. They do get. I don't want to say it's stolen. Stolen is like when you purposely take it. It's not,
right.
Which I don't feel like I know like a lot of people that do that.
I don't know.
I don't know anybody that does that. But it's possible to have like parallel thinking where you're both like
right.
And it happens. And I think
both unhappily married, both hate your kids.
Right.
You're right about it the same way.
Eugene Torres, Eugene.
Yeah.
Him and I both have a joke very similar about the like Pandora radio station. And then the ad that comes on and disrupts the mood. Yeah. Like, they're funny, but they're like basically the same joke. Yeah. But we both wrote it on our own.
Yeah. That's something that happened. Right. Yeah, that happens.
It happens. So it's just, what do you do? I don't know. I guess keep doing it. I don't know.
Yeah. So it's how do you
gets it on TV first? Maybe,
I think so, or on a podcast first.
Podcast.
Yeah, Eugene, you're done. That's it. You got to record it. YouTube it right away.
He got it posted first though, so I was like, damn.
All right, you're done. You can't do.
I'm out. That's 2 jokes now. I'm done with.
How do you know a joke's ready for stage in the process of the joke? So we're taking it from the written process, right? Where do you take it from there before you say it's ready for a headline a night, before you know it's ready for stage?
Something I learned from Eric Myers, who's rest in peace,
R.I.P. man,
buddy,
yeah.
But he would do something new every show, every night, even if it was just an idea. He would toss it out there to see if it gets a laugh. So I try to do that. Like, even if it's just like the idea of the joke, like, and maybe because we're talking about it now, maybe I'll try that weed, the weed. Why not?
Yeah,
like I'll toss it out there. I'll see if it gets a laugh. If it does, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna expand on it. And then kind of like that game I was saying with the Rant Round, where you just talk about it.
Yeah. I'll
do that on my own material. So I'll do a joke, and then I'll just try to say 2 or 3 more sentences about it.
Just to poke around at it.
Just in the moment, whatever comes to mind, poke around. And maybe it gets a laugh, maybe it doesn't, but I try to do that too. And sometimes if a joke is funny or not. Like, I've just been doing this joke about, it happened after quarantine about, and this is, speaking of a unique premise, that the country of Israel is located on the continent of Asia.
Okay.
Which means Jewish people are Asian, which is hilarious. So I got some more tags, but we're gonna save it for the show. But like when I had that idea, and then I thought about like the little act outs and the tags that go with it, I'm like, that's hilarious. Yeah. Like I already know that's hilarious. So I started doing it in the show, and it does well.
Kind of, you just test it. because I know there's some comics that stuck with a joke that bombed every time they did it. It was the one I'm thinking of mainly is Chris Rock, right?
Yeah.
Different types of N-word, right, was his
Yeah.
thing, right?
Yeah.
And I heard that he worked this in clubs all over the place, and it bombed for years. And he never gave up on it. He stayed with it. And obviously on Bigger and Blacker, that bit murders, right?
Yeah.
It's like, what do you have a bit that you hold on to?
Yes.
When do you burn it? When do you let it go? When do you say enough's enough, right?
Yeah, I got an older one and a newer one that are like that.
Yeah.
The older one is about talk about my dog. I say he's very smart. 3 years old, he was already playing Fletch, dressed up like Chevy Chase and everything.
Yeah.
Nobody laughs at it, and then I go, I laugh. I tell the crowd, I'm like, I'm still gonna keep doing that joke. Like that is funny to me. And I go, it's an old movie with Chevy Chase. You dress up like different characters. I don't know how many people know that movie.
Oh, yeah, I know the movie.
You know the movie, yeah. So, and like when I kind of acknowledge that, they chuckle. You know, they laugh a little bit. But it's funny to me for some reason, and that's one I've been doing. And it's part of a bigger bit. The new one that I've been working on, and I'm going to do it tonight and tomorrow. So we'll see if it works. I think the word chauvinistic pig sounds like a pig that won the blue ribbon in the county fair.
Okay, yeah, he's in show. He's showing. Yeah, I got you.
Quite the chauvinistic pig you got there. Thank you. Chauvinistic pig 2 years in a row now.
Yeah.
It's just funny to me, right? So, like, I've been doing that one, and, like, it's hit or miss, you know? Like, if they're with me the rest of the show, like, and I get to that, they're like, oh, that's really funny. And if I, like, put it too early, they're like, that's dumb.
You lost us.
You lost us. But I'm like, it's so funny to me
Yeah.
that I don't know. And that's the other thing, like with comedy, like there's also the fine line of like you're doing material that the crowd laughs at, or are you doing material that you just like to do and you say your own little silly, because you have to do both. You know, you have
Sure.
to you have to entertain yourself. Like if you put out what you think is funny, the crowd will follow you. But you also kind of have to give them some of the ones to bait them.
Yeah, bring him in.
Yeah.
Bring him in. Yeah, I think there's there's these writing comics, right, that are pure writers, and I can always see a pure writer on stage.
Yeah.
I can see one,
Yeah.
right, because they hit this, they're nailing it, right?
Right.
And I often don't see them rant. They stick to the lines,
Yep.
and if the lines don't hit, they just move to the next line, They don't branch out. They won't play outside of what they've written, what
Right.
they've tested at open mics, right? They just boom and boom and boom and boom,
Yeah.
as opposed to being, like you said, the one that's getting on stage and going, I'm working some bits right now. I don't know where it's going,
Right.
and freestyle that bit.
Right. And I think I'm more of a performer than I am a writer. Like and in the moment I'm very, I think, sharp and witty.
Yeah.
You know, but there's definitely some of these comics that are such good writers.
Good ones.
But you know, you know who's a really good writer? You know, Christoph.
Of
Jean?
course, yeah.
Christoph Jean is like one of my favorites in town.
That
right
boy
now.
can write.
That boy can write.
Yeah.
Dude, I watch him anytime I see him at a show or like we're at the same show. I'm like, hang on, I gotta go inside and watch. Christoph.
Gotta watch this,
I gotta
yeah.
watch Christoph because he's so funny. And then let's see who's more performance based, like Alex Yu. Do you know Alex Yu?
That's my best friend.
Is it really?
Yeah, that's my best friend. Yeah.
Alex Yu. I think that guy could perform.
Yeah.
He's performer.
Yeah.
Not to knock his writing, but like you see the two different
Yeah.
styles of comedy, and
Vince Taylor comes to mind.
Vince
as
Taylor,
as a performer.
He's a performer.
Yeah,
He's a
yeah.
performer. But at the end of the day, if the crowd is laughing and it's funny, that's all that
Who cares,
matters.
right, yeah.
Funny trumps everything.
Yeah.
Funny trumps everything.
Do you find that separation, right, between, performing at an open mic and we'll do three different platforms, if you will. An open mic, a bar show that does a random Thursday that some people don't know, right? The bar show, and a comedy club, right? Where do you find that difference in audiences and how that performance goes?
Yeah, so we got open mic, bar show, comedy club.
Yeah.
Open mic, bar show, comedy club. So what's the differences you're saying?
Yeah, for you, right? Because I know a lot of people that, at an open mic, right, may not do so well. And then I'll see them at a comedy club.
And they'll crush.
They'll crush.
Yeah.
Right, and those differences between those shows for you.
Yeah, so for me, like, open mic is fun because you're taking something that you've never even said once. Like an idea, the thumb stuff, maybe you're reading it off your phone and you're just literally testing it out there, seeing, hey, does this get a chuckle? Does this get a laugh? Bar shows are that you have to have a certain I don't give a fuck attitude, and it ends up going really well because you're like, okay, I don't give a fuck. There's drunk people at the bar. They're going to shout shit out. They're going to heckle. But if you don't give a fuck and you show that you're not scared, then they're like, this guy is awesome. And then sometimes like comedy clubs, this is something I've struggled with is you're getting paid for your professional show. So sometimes I go into comedy clubs and I'm like, okay, I gotta be professional, I gotta really do my act and blah blah blah, and it stiffens me up sometimes.
Yeah.
So I have to take some of that bar show energy and apply it to the comedy club to be like, I gotta give a little bit of I don't give a fuck in the comedy club, and it ends up going great.
Yeah.
When I can do that, you know.
Yeah. Alex Yu actually, he gave me my best piece of advice. It was like a crowd of almost 250 that we were doing. One of my first biggest shows like that. Yeah. And he could tell it was a bit like, okay, man, I'm a showman, right? I'm more of a performer, right? I take premise and play around. Yeah. And he grabs me real quick and goes, Adam, wait, remember, have fun, G.
Yes.
And I'm like, and that advice stuck with me forever. It's like, oh, yeah, just go have fun. Just do that.
Right.
Yeah.
I forget that all the time, and I tell it to my students. And John Charles, my buddy that I started off with, John Charles Ragland, him and I started off together, and we would always remind each other, hey, have fun.
Yeah.
Because if you're not having fun, the crowd could tell if you're not having fun.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, I'm doing that. I'm doing stand-up so that I could have fun. Right, but sometimes you get in your head and you're like, okay, I'm get they're paying me. I gotta be professional. I gotta make sure I get all the laughs. Wait. Have fun.
Yeah.
And then it all goes fine.
A couple more questions, man. Yeah. Who influenced you the most in comedy? Some people that influenced you, whether that's comics or whatever. Who are those people?
My influences, I think it's more like, so like I said, when I was a kid, I would listen to all the comedy. There was that show on VH1. Rosie O'Donnell used to host it. It had like a blue curtain with like holes in it that were the stars in the. I forget what it was. Everything on Comedy Central, like all those old like '90s stand-up shows. I'd watch those all the time. And like I said, my dad was really funny. All of his friends were funny, and these guys would just laugh all the time. And I watched Seinfeld as a kid. I watched Conan as a kid.
Yeah.
But I think it was more like, instead of like getting inspired by a comedian, I feel like I was more inspired by like my dad and his friends to like laugh and goof around, you know, and like I just want to have fun and make people laugh and stuff, and then that kind of ties into getting the job at the comedy club, and goes back to the first part of this, but that's kind of where my inspiration came from, was from me wanting to continue to laugh.
Yeah. I dig that, man.
Yeah.
So, worst bomb ever. But then how do you recover from a bomb? What's your process from a bomb? What's that like for you in that process?
Yeah, okay. So my worst bomb was probably, I got two stories that come to mind. One of them, I was with Carmen Morales.
Yeah.
You know who that is?
Yeah.
Her and I had this show booked, and there was no MC. And an MC could make or break a show, I think. Yeah. Without an MC, it's so there's no MC. She goes up cold, just starts doing her material. They're just like looking at her. I go up, start doing my material. They're just looking at me. And it just like, I've never had a show where it was like zero laughter for like a proper sold out room. Like, it didn't make any sense. Like, I still can't figure it out. Like, they're just like, not even like, sometimes the crowd is like, and that's it. They gave us nothing. It was just like cringy. Like, it was terrible. That was like the first worst bomb. The second bomb, when people asked me, I got booked for this show in Florida, and it was at a venue that was the building was an old Pizza Hut. Like, you could tell it was an old Pizza Hut. It was an old Pizza Hut that was converted into a Chinese buffet, which was then converted into a Spanish nightclub.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, and you could see it.
Yeah.
And so we had this show there, and like, the bookers had us there, but it was like one family, like a father and mother with their two kids, like eating dinner, that didn't know that a comedy show was going to happen.
Those are the worst.
It was so cringy. And like, so we're sitting there trying to like entertain these people, and it was terrible. And then on the drive home, we flipped the car.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, we barrel rolled the car. It was in Webster, Florida.
Yeah, that's a terrible night. Good God, man.
Absolutely the terrible, most worst comedy night. And like, we're driving home, like sulking in our bomb. We're like, what was that? Why did we drive out here? The owner was weird. The family was just looking at us. Like, there was like the Spanish nightclub lights. Like, it wasn't like a proper, like, these are show lights. lights. These are spotlights. This was like ootsa, 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 without the music, and we're like, what the hell just happened? We're heading home, and then there was like a couple of raccoons popped out, and he swerved to miss. We crashed. We barrel rolled the car, and we weren't even like drunk or high.
Just raccoon avoiding.
Raccoon avoiding.
Oh God.
Yeah. So those are the two bomb stories.
How do you get over it?
How do I get over like a bomb? And other, like those are the worst. Like then there's the average bombs. The average bombs. How do I get over them? Is man, I don't know. I guess I just like I you know what I go back to remembering to have fun. Because if I bomb, it's probably because I wasn't having fun. If I bomb.
Yeah.
Sometimes the crowd bombs.
Yeah. And
that's a real thing too. Sometimes, you're doing material, you're up there giggling, you're having fun, you're delivering your material properly. The material that's worked 1,000 times, it's funny.
Yeah.
At that point, you're like, okay, this one's on you guys. This one's on you guys.
This is on you.
Yeah. So if that happens, those don't bother me. But if I could tell it's me, then I'm like, okay, I got to get my feet back on the ground here. I got to remember to have fun.
Last question, man. What's your ritual pre-stage? Your 5 minutes. It's green room, right?
Yeah.
You get the nod, like, hey, you ready? 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, what's your ritual like?
Yeah. Lately, I've been like addicted to candy. Like I'm always eating Skittles or something because I haven't been smoking weed or drinking lately.
Yeah.
So no energy drink. So I've just been having like my candy. Has been like my little thing, and it's nice to have a minute away, or I'll try to like watch the show. I'll try to see what the feature's doing, or kind of just linger around. But the whole day, like today, I had to like eat at a certain time, so that I could poop at a certain time, so I could shower right afterwards, so that what I mean. It's a whole day thing. So by the time I get here, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go whenever,
Yeah. I think a lot of people don't realize that, right? That headline thing, or even performing for some people, it is an all-day thing, right? You wake up thinking about it. All right, I got to eat at 4. I can't eat at 6. Yeah.
And like I knew tonight we have 2 shows, so I knew that tonight's going to be a later night. So like I woke up this morning and I'm like, it's too early to get up. I got to go back to sleep. Went to sleep back to sleep till like 11.
There you go.
I got to do my resting in the morning.
Yeah, man.
So that's where I'm at now. And now I got my cigar, so I'll probably hang out outside after this and smoke a cigar a little bit, and maybe get a soda water if you guys have some.
Yeah, we do.
And that's my pre-show ritual, and maybe scroll through my notes. I've been working all week. I had a show Tuesday, so I headlined Tuesday, Wednesday. Gave up a spot on Thursday yesterday because we opened up the open mic.
I saw that, yeah.
So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Then I got 2 Friday, 2 here Saturday, and then I got an afternoon show Sunday. So I'm currently on like a very hot streak.
It's a good ride, yeah. Nice. I'm gonna get that Carmen tonight.
Yeah. You're gonna get midweek banging on all cylinders, Carmen.
Yeah.
But if I'm not on that, then I'll go through my set list, or you know what else helps is if I call a buddy and we shoot the shit and just kind of get silly.
Yeah, well, Alex and I do that. Yeah, warm you up a little bit.
Warm me up, talk some shit, kind of just get in that funny mode.
Yeah.
And then I'm like good to go.
I love it, man. Tell everybody where they can find you, man.
Yeah, you can find me. So I gotta tell you this real fast. So Eric Myers.
Yeah.
We're on my buddy Healthy Junk Foods channel, and he goes, so where can we find you? Eric goes, you can find me right here. I think about that every time now. You can find me right here. No, but please find me online. Carmen Vallone on everything. I've been working on building up my YouTube. I've been working on building up my Instagram, Facebook. Just started to post to TikTok a little bit, but and that's the other thing. Social media is I'm trying to get more social media. It's awesome that you're doing this.
Yeah, got to, man.
Got to crank out content. So Carmen Vallone, find me. I'm out there.
Brother, thank you for doing the show tonight, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here, man.
I love it. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Yep. Bye, guys.